What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Don coming live national the TruPlayaz podcast episode with my brother JoeyG on the one and twos of the TruPlayaz podcast episode. Just bless you another episode as we always do. Just want to announce some changes, but before I do that, I'm gonna let JoeyG introduce himself to the people.
What up, this is your man Joey G. Another day on the True Players podcast as your co-host. Ready for another topic full of vitamins to give you some education that you may or may not have, or you may need injected in your life just to get by to the through the day to day.
Absolutely, absolutely. But people, today's episode, we are not going to take up too much of your time tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
I really wanted to bless you guys with a beautiful SummerSlam 23 recap, but we're going to hold that off for another day, possibly later in the week. And so we're going to hit you guys with our opinions of the SummerSlam 2023 and the aftermath of SummerSlam 23 via the SmackDowns and the Raws that happened afterwards. But gonna announce some news to the TruPlayaz podcast that for the time being there will not be an intro to the TruPlayaz podcast. We're gonna go straight into the episode. As there are some changes that's happening that we have to be myself and Joey G have to talk about, and it's nothing crazy, but we just have to stick with me and Joey G as hosts. As consistent hosts, we will only be showcasing us in the intro. Because since we'll be on the show, we're consistent with the show. We will only be showcasing the intro. Once that new intro is definitely produced, we're gonna put it out there, and everybody's gonna have fun with it. So, basically, we're gonna talk about the scripture of the commandments. A little bit different than what we talk about usually.
Right.
But honor thy mother, honor thy father, and the ramifications if you do not do that.
Right.
I've been, I wouldn't say I've been blessed. I respect the scripture to the point that we're not perfect in this world, in the life that we live in. But I pride myself in not putting my parents in a position where I actually hurt them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I tried my best not to do that. I mean, we all hurt our parents some way, shape, or form, whether we did bad in school or, something like that. You know what I'm saying? But when it gets deeper than that, that's when you gotta draw the line. And there's ramifications if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So Joey G, what's your thought process on that?
Well, let me tell you something, brother. No, I can't wait to get into the WrestleMania. Well, the SummerSlam, as far as the wrestling is concerned. But WrestleMania is right around the corner. We're gonna get into that too. So we're talking about honoring that mother and father. How I feel about that. Well, how do we feel about it as a culture? How do we feel about it as a culture? As a person raised in a Puerto Rican household, it's it's instilled in you at an early age. And if you don't know, the backhand will teach you. And if the backhand doesn't teach you, the switch will teach you. And if the switch doesn't teach you, the belt will teach you. And if the belt doesn't teach you, the chancla will will teach you. There's various people in the family that disciplined us in that regard to make sure that we understood why. And at the time, it was because I said so, and that's all we needed to know.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're older, we're in the position of our elders. We're in the position of demanding that same respect that was given to us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Honoring my mother and father is simply adhering to what they tell you to do. Whether you agree or you don't agree at the time, um, It's simply that. It's just listening to them, uh, basically following their blueprint, if you will, to a certain degree. I understand that things have changed from certain generations till now, and yeah, things need to be updated, like the Constitution. But that one thing remains clear, like to have respect for your parents. It should be without question. There should be no question about that because they're ones that brought you into this world. They're the ones that provided a roof over your head. They're the ones that did the extra stuff that you didn't see about, that you didn't know about. They took care
Hmm.
of the storm that you didn't see while you were asleep. So they should have that respect. Um, there's a lot. Knowing now, I wouldn't have known this as a kid. I wouldn't have known this as a teenager. Knowing it now as a parent, it's totally different. Like, cause you get the lenses of a parent, and if you don't get the lenses of parent as an adult, you get to witness um, why your parents said certain things,
Hmm.
why they told you to move a certain way,
Hmm.
why you're not always in other people's circles, the company you keep, the people that are around you. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like those things were embedded. They're embedded in us. We could either take what our parents gave us and move through life, and if it was good advice, it shows in the people that circle us. It shows in how we carry ourselves day to day. It shows when we are going through turmoil. It shows when we have a job, how we take care of our finances, how we take care of our cars, how we take care of the family, how we deal with our friends, how we deal with relationships, period. There's a lot to be said as far as that, honoring that mother and father.
Hmm.
Various cultures, various societies. What put what puts people what my question is what puts kids in a position to disrespect their parents, to steal, or to resort to stealing, or to what do you call that? Rebel against their
Hmm.
parents. What causes that?
Do you believe it's trauma? Trauma being raised by the parents. Um, is it a response to that? Is it a response to a certain situation that happened when they were growing up, such as divorce or internal strife between the parents? And it could be any one of those things. It could be any one of those things. But
Financial. So you'd be saying like financial pressure, the financial struggle,
hmm
people feeling like they were less fortunate than other kids.
hmm let me interrupt it by mentioning that they think they were less fortunate than other kids. They think they were, but
I,
they were actually
I
were
that's
not.
I said that. I said they think they were less fortunate than other kids.
This is a very sensitive subject to talk about,
It is. It
and
is.
I hate to have to talk about it
I mean,
because
I tie my tongue to a certain degree because I have more respect than my younger self did.
mhm,
Now, as a parent, I have more respect than my younger self because I didn't understand the why. But now that
mhm,
I understand the why, it's a little bit easier for me to digest. And speaking speaking on a man to man terms, it gets people get a pass for certain
mhm,
things. People get a pass for certain things because I didn't understand at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my pass was given to me when
Mm-hmm.
I was younger. My pass was given to me, whether I knew it or not. My pass was given to me when I was younger. So now, as an adult, I could give that pass because I understand why it was done for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And while we're talking about this, I want to give a special shout out
Uh-huh.
to my father who's sleeping in peace for 13 years. A happy salute, happy birthday to him.
Oh
Today is
wow.
his birthday. I may not have the Johnny Walker, but I do have the
Oh,
Tennessee Honey JD whiskey.
right.
So in spirit of his heavenly birthday, I got this. That's why I'm sipping on it throughout the podcast. And
I'm
is
sipping, but
is
it's not that great.
listen, a sip is a sip. You know, I mean, I do thank my father for being my father. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to give him his flowers while he's lying in the grave. I hate doing that because what he was trying to teach me when he was alive, and I was being resistant to it. Everything he said happened. Everything he
Yeah.
said happened. But I never went out. I never went above and beyond to hurt him. Never did that. I may have said some things, but I never try to attack him spiritually. Because, by the end of the day, that is my father. He was the reason. He's half my creator. Him and my
Right.
mom, half the creator.
Right.
They both went half on me. You know what I'm saying? So I had a decorum not to cross certain lines.
Right.
And what people don't realize is once you cross a certain line with your parent, to the point that it may have cost them their mortality, you're going to lose a lot more than just a parent. Because all the people who love that parent of yours or what have you, they can't be around you. Because by
Right.
them being around you, they co-sign what you have done, whether they knew it up front or not. By them being around you, you basically co-signed it. And I'm in a position. I'm not going to co-sign anybody. I'm not going to sit there and hang with anybody or have them around me and be involved in my business that we're trying to grow here in the TruPlayaz podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To affect that, I can't have the energy, so I didn't co-sign that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand that.
So I mean, nothing personal. If they take it personal or do a song about me, so be it. But keep in mind one thing: I do have a podcast that I will retort. I will respond. So you know, let's not go there because I hope this is basically to get them to understand and hopefully lead them to a path of penance because that's the only way they're gonna get through. They're gonna people get through it because people think it's easy. It's hard now, but think about your sins. It's gonna come back and haunt. It's gonna come back. This is just the beginning. It's gonna keep punching your face, kicking you in the stomach. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna be worse until you realize you can look yourself in the mirror. You can look at everyone else in the mirror and be like, "Yo, I did this. I'm sorry," or whatever. But the end. But me, you probably agree with me, bro. I can't have that energy around me right now. I'm dealing with too much bad energy as it is. I can't have that extra energy. I'm battling that too. Nah, I can't do that. I
No,
can't do
I
that.
mean it's having that energy around you is not conducive to what we're trying to do right now. We're
Right.
trying to build and grow family. We're
Mm-hmm.
trying to solidify legacies. We're
Mm-hmm.
trying to network and get to the next level as far as the podcast is concerned and business and any investments that we're trying to do and ventures that we're trying to do with finance. So no, it's not conducive to that. I'll speak a little bit about the hells, you have to look forward to,
Mm-hmm.
because I've worked my way through some,
Mm-hmm.
and I know personally, going against the grain, going against your grain, going against your fabric,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to do it alone, and thinking that you have people out there that are not family, that are in the street, that you call your peoples, your mans and them, whatever the term you want to use. They're not your blood.
Mm-hmm.
They're not your blood. They don't
Mm-hmm.
care. They don't care anything about you. They'll put a dollar before you. And if they
Mm-hmm.
put a dollar before you, they'll put a bullet in you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care if they hurt you.
Mm.
They don't care if you're hurt.
Right.
I don't care what they say, what they tell you. I don't care if they lend you their ear. They
Mm-hmm.
don't care. Because everything you say to them, they'll use against you at some
Mm-hmm.
point in time. Some point in time, they'll use it against you.
Mm-hmm.
When you think you got everything locked,
Mm-hmm.
are we about to get this lick, and
Mm-hmm.
that person gets caught,
Mm-hmm.
believe he has all the ammunition he needs to not be in the jail. But you may be.
Right.
Then you have an Acon route.
Mm-hmm.
You're locked up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna go through the whole process that Acon did, but
Mm-hmm.
or you get the other way. The other way
Mm-hmm.
is death row.
Mm-hmm.
Quick,
True.
ticket out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Or you get the realization that all that you've done is wrong.
Right.
You messed everything up. You don't know how to fix it. So it's weighing on
Mm-hmm.
you so heavy, you take the ticket out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's people around you right now. There's people that say they love you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
But those are the same people who those are probably the same people who don't know the full story either. You gotta
Right.
give them the benefit of the doubt also. And
But
would they even co-sign that situation?
right.
They don't
That's
know
what
that.
I'm saying.
They know your
That's why
version.
they know their version. Once they do know the truth, what did they do? What did they do?
They're gonna turn
We
their
can't
back
say
on you.
we can't say what they do, but what would they do?
Mm-hmm.
If you were them, what would you do if you were them, and vice versa?
If I find out something like that, I have to separate myself from the situation. I'm
Oh
very big. I'm big on you and I both are big on spirituality.
yeah,
We can't have that around us.
no,
We can't have that
no.
around us. Um, that's a no go. That's a no. I mean, I could be your people from afar, but we can't rock like we used to.
Listen, if you're willing to do if you're willing to do all that you have to do to get on the right path, and you make it through the other side, and you got everything on the up and up, I'll see you then. I can't fuck with you right now.
Nah, I don't think I don't think I could even you better than me. I don't think I ever mess with people. Depending on the relationship I have with the person that was done to us, that's the big thing too. That's a big thing too.
Yeah.
Um, and to have walk around heartbroken and stuff like that, knowing that you did some shady shit. You know what I'm saying? And nah, we don't do pity parties. We don't do
No.
pity parties of that type of move or technique or whatever. You know.
So so basically, we're talking about building respectful relationships.
I think we're both in the stage of we're pushing. We're about to be 50, in
Yeah.
4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So we can't be about that life no more.
No.
We're not in our 20s where we can
No.
recover quickly. We are not in our 20s.
No.
Our recovery time is zero now. We may need some HGH on a spiritual level for that. You know,
my back cracks like a deck of cards.
I need some. Even today, when I got up this morning, I told you about the dream I had. I'm not gonna get into it with the dream. It was the weirdest dream I ever had, but it brought everything into perspective for me. You know, having the wrong people around you could definitely damage everything that you're trying to strive to work for. Just having the wrong people.
and it could be they're just not on the level you are right now, and it'll force you to backtrack without you knowing.
Mm-hmm.
For some,
Mm-hmm.
some are just totally not on your level. You shouldn't even
Mm-hmm.
be at that level.
Mm-hmm.
But some people feel comfortable dumbing themselves down because they're trying to be people pleasers.
Mm-hmm.
So stop that. Stay in your lane. We've said
But
this
you
before. We've
got
said
you.
this before on the TruPlayaz podcast. Stay in
We
your
said
lane.
that before. But you got to keep in mind the elders who are in paradise or in the other place.
Hmm.
They're watching.
Yeah, always.
When people go into the crossroads and your elders who are already there are questioning that spirit that just joined them, say that,
Hmm.
what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here yet.
Right.
Think about that. Think about that for a second. I had a dream like that. They asked this person who just recently passed away, what are you doing here? You're not. This is not your time to be here.
Huh.
Yes, we have a deaf silence going on here.
Yeah.
You got to keep in mind the person that lost their life or whatever. You got to keep in your mind who raised them,
Yeah.
and those are the elders that's asking them that question. And the spirits, the elders, are not happy.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say about that situation. The elders are not happy. Um, what else could I add to this? Because I feel like
How
it's
about
touching nerves on every level for me. It's like it's emotional right now.
okay? Getting back. Let's get back
Hmm.
to the topic a little bit. How can
Hmm.
children show appreciation to their parents? Parents' efforts of sacrifice.
Be better than the parents.
Okay.
That is the objective. That is the motivation. Be a step above your parents. They're training you to avoid their mistakes. But we all know we have to learn. We have to learn. We gain knowledge through experience. But they're training us as we're growing up to avoid the mistakes that can cripple you emotionally, spiritually, and physically.
Okay.
We gotta keep that in mind. We gotta keep that in mind.
Sure.
So, what's your thoughts on that, bro?
I got sidetracked because my son came over and wanted to see what's
Listen,
going on.
this is the True Players podcast. Everybody's welcome.
he,
Anybody.
he wanted to
I
see what
want
was going on. So he
I
was
want
talking to me in my ear.
to. I actually want to step away from the camera real quick, so I want to broadcast this the link to people to join the podcast on Instagram. But listen, guys, the link is in the comments. If you want to join the podcast, definitely click on that link and we'll bring you into the podcast. If you have any questions or if you want to ask what we're talking about, definitely do that. The mic is open. This is an open mic. This is actually legitimately an open mic episode right now. A little bit different than what we usually talk about, but we're the TruPlayaz podcast. We can talk about anything at any time.
This is the wrong batteries, Joe. Triple. There's three. The triple. That's double. That's double. That's
Double.
double. That's that's not gonna fit in there. It's triple A. The
So yeah,
smaller ones.
like
Go
I
show
said,
mommy it's the smaller ones.
we got a few more episodes lining up, guys. Summertime recap. Also, I gotta talk about some NFL football, preseason football, and also the demise of the New York Mets. That's gonna be another episode, guys. But we're gonna stay true to this episode, this topic, as Joey G was a little bit distracted by his offspring.
Yeah.
Yes, a little bit distracted, but it's all
It's all
good. Though.
good.
It's
It's
all
all
good.
good. But because it comes into what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
As parents we gotta foresee these things happening. And we gotta roll with the punches
Mm-hmm.
as far as that's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Unconditional as a parent you think unconditional love. As a
Mm-hmm.
son or a daughter, you should think unconditional love, or you should learn to get to that position. Because when you're a parent, you're going to need it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need that in order to nurture a child,
Mm-hmm.
in order to nurture a child and bring them into this world and have them grow.
True that. True that. You gotta be the teacher. As a parent, you gotta be the teacher. The child is the student, right?
Yes.
As my nephew has
But,
come on the screen.
but, yeah, he's going to pop his head in.
Mm,
But at the same time, don't forget, children are teachers too.
yes.
Never forget that. Never forget that. And I think that our the generations before forget that also, or
Mm-hmm.
didn't put that into consideration when they were trying to teach us. They're the biggest teachers also.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're students because they're trying to learn. Yes, but you should also be a student to them,
Mm-hmm.
to see the world through their eyes, to
Mm-hmm.
understand how they perceive things, to give you a different form of. Uh, Use the other one. It's right there. This one. Yes, it'll work. But to use their eyes to see the world, navigate it through their eyes to give you a different perspective to look at the world. If you're
Mm-hmm.
able to do that, then it broadens the way you see things. It broadens the way you think and doesn't keep a narrow mindset where you're just stuck on, well, my parents and the parents before me. And this is not the Ten Commandments where it's written in stone and we're going one by one. Granted, they're key markers and keys in life that we need to get through life, but
Mm-hmm.
every generation should have a revision to a certain
Mm-hmm.
degree. Every new generation should have a revision and revisit those things to create something new for the next generation, because it's not going to translate the same each generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Just like our music is different from our parents' music, and these generations of kids, their music is doesn't translate the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Effectively, is it the same to us
Mm-hmm.
collectively? Yes, it hits. It hits that certain nerve. It gets that vibe going, and you're jamming.
Mm-hmm.
But the meaning we can all explain like art, is different.
Mm-hmm.
It's different, but that's that's as deep as I could get into it right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, on that note, let's pivot because this is a subject. Let's pivot. We'll end this topic right now. We're gonna pivot to something else.
Right.
Um, Future podcast episodes, spin-offs,
Oh, let's get it.
ego tripping with Joey G. Let's get it, man.
Definitely.
Let's start with
Definitely.
ego tripping with Joey G.
Okay. Let's get it. What do you want to know about it?
Well, when is the first official episode coming out for ego tripping with Joey G?
I'm still working. I'm working it out. I'm still working it out. I don't know when I want to start it, but I'm putting everything together. I got my
Mm-hmm.
bases covered when it comes to uh, getting it together. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the format is looking great. The content is great. The people that I would like to have on the show, it's gonna be something to talk about. It's not gonna be it's same as we're doing on the TruPlayaz podcast, but I structured it a little bit in how I want to do it on my end
Mm-hmm.
and the
Gotcha.
things that I want to talk about on my end. Like, yeah, I want to talk about sports, but when I talk about sports, I'm talking about wrestling or maybe a major sporting event that I've just seen. Like the playoffs just happened. I want to talk about the playoffs because the Knicks were in it, and or whatever team was hot at the time is going on. Let's talk about that because it's on the current events. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is mainstream as far as current events. Um, when we were dealing with the Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, and those things that happened prior, as far as current events, I'd like to continue doing stuff like that and bringing it on the podcast and dissecting it, not just from a cultural standpoint, but
Mm-hmm.
understanding the perspective on the other end as well. Understanding
Now,
it from the God.
sorry to cut you off, but so now it's just about since you're talking about current events, let's talk about Alabama and that
Oh,
fiasco at the pier,
right.
where we saw a lot of things happening.
That was a WWE match that was unsanctioned.
Yes, yes, yes. It was like tables, ladders, and chairs on the
Oh my.
docks.
Oh my. See, if they had now, see, this is where the WWE falls short. They needed Jim Ross. They needed Jim Ross. They need Jerry the King Lawler,
Hmm.
Bobby Heenan doing
Let's
commentary on this whole situation.
listen. Oh, I'm gonna put it to you like this, bro. We're not condoning any race
Uh,
wars and things. We're not condoning any race wars or anything like that. But to see somebody get jumped like that
no,
for doing his job,
no, no. Let's.
it struck a chord.
That was
It
the
struck.
main takeaway from that.
Mm-hmm.
It struck it struck a chord in a lot of people, bro. It struck a chord in a lot of people, and that a lot of people were just like, the dude was doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
Dude was doing his job. You violated, and you got what you deserved. There was nobody surprised what happened.
And it's funny part. The funny part is I hate this. I'm saying let's call I'm going to call apples, oranges. There was white people that was doing memes on that shit too, and they were saying what the fuck they were thinking. They were even saying that.
Right.
You
because
know what I'm
they
saying?
understand the person was doing the job.
Yeah.
Let's put it in context. The person was doing their job.
Hmm.
He wasn't. He wasn't just on the corner like, y'all need to move your boat.
But for me,
Ain't nobody doing that.
the cap flip made the WWE automatically. He was like,
Listen, that shit reminded me of Fist of Fury.
oh well.
Yo, nobody did the meme that I wanted to see. If they
Yo,
did that shit, that
let me
shit would have
tell you
been
something.
fire. You could have put that whole thing that from the cartoon, from the anime cartoon, you could have put that whole shit up there, and that shit would have been exactly where it needed to be to
And
make
that
that
kid
shit
that was
funny.
and that kid was swimming from the boat. He actually that kid that was swimming in the water came from the boat that was trying to dock.
16 years old.
Like, yeah, he
16
was
year
swimming.
old.
He was swimming like he was Bookman swimming to Haiti from Jamaica.
Listen, he got on the dock. The first thing he did was take off his shoes.
Smart guy. Added weight.
Let's get this out of the way. I already fucked up my sneakers.
Let me tell you something. I don't condone women getting hit upside the head with a chair shot, but
Unless it's the WWE.
I don't condone it. I I
but
don't condone it, but
but I would
she's part of that lady was part of the fisticuffs too. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I
I
actually
don't
she
condone it.
inserted herself. She Listen. She inserted herself where she should not have been, and at the time, no fucks were given, and that's
No.
exactly what she got.
And the dude, all due respect,
Like
deserved to
if
get arrested. He deserved to get arrested. All due respect, he deserved to get arrested. That's an assault on a woman, no matter if she
now the one that was
treats you
thrown in the
personally.
water, not so much. The one thrown in the water, not so much. Don't arrest him. That was pretty cool. He
But
should get a pass for that.
the problem is that no one is above the law. You know what I'm saying? That no one's above the rules. And this was an example of privilege that was trying to
Yeah.
flex in the wrong area with the wrong people. You guys understand 400 years of oppression? That is just that's just frustration of 400 years of oppression that this came literally came out,
If this,
and it wasn't as ugly as it could have been. Therein lies the restraint. For I wouldn't call it too much restraint. People, weapons was used, chairs was used. I wouldn't call it restraint, but if it was flipped the other way, what would have happened? They would have had the dogs, the fire hoses, the nightsticks, the billy clubs, all out.
right,
Let's be honest about that situation. Let's be real honest about that situation. If the roles were reversed, there'll be an army of law enforcement there. I'm just saying. What do you think, bro?
I'm I'm gonna say that in this instance, right?
Yes.
Um, I think law enforcement acted appropriately as far as the way they walked up on the scene,
Oh,
not
they
knowing.
did. They did a great. Uh, they did a good job with it.
They surveyed the
Mm-hmm.
situation. They listened to people that were there as far as what
Mm-hmm.
was going on. They seen the problem, and they kept the peace.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a
For the
rush to
most.
judgment.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a rush to judgment. You didn't see a rush to judgment or irrational thinking as far as the officers were concerned. They came in, they kept the peace. They put people in custody. They
Mm-hmm.
they put people
Restraints. They restrained the people.
in
They
restraint.
arrested them.
Yeah,
You know what
right.
I'm
They
saying?
put them in restraints. So I guess they did their job as far as that was concerned. Maybe they'll turn up more stuff later in an investigation, as they should, because
Mm-hmm.
it was a big deal. There were certain things
Mm-hmm.
that I've seen there. I was like, oh, too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there was a lot of things in there that was just like, that's a bit much. I get it, but
The
this is where,
the chair shots was a bit too much, bro. We got to be
yeah,
honest about that. The chair shots was a bit too much.
I mean, I
It,
get your frustration. I get it. Sometimes you just want to hit somebody with a chair. You want to do it. I get it. But at some point, you got to be like, I should stop doing this.
keep in mind one thing though. Like I said, I don't
Hmm.
condone any violence of that nature towards women. I don't. I do
Can I
not
say this?
condone it. Yeah.
Can I say this? The chair shot memes are funny as hell. All the memes with the fucking chairs, that shit is
Mm-hmm.
hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. They fucking had
They're,
a karate instructor with a fucking chair. Hood, hood. It's like, yeah, I'm doing
they're
too
about to
much.
ban. They're about to ban all white chairs. You know.
I didn't get it. Like this person was posting 3 chairs for $25. I didn't get it until after I seen the. I didn't
we
get
pop
it.
jokes. We pop jokes about it, bro. But we don't condone that type of situation. Um,
I
we don't
I'm
condone it.
I have to be fair. I have to be
Mm-hmm.
fair in the situation. I've always been partial to rapid justice
Mm-hmm.
or instant karma, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
If a person does wrong and the instinct calls for them to get the justice right there in the spot, I'm
Mm-hmm.
with it. I
Mm-hmm.
can laugh at it. I condone that.
Mm-hmm.
This situation was like the instant karma was done, but
Mm-hmm.
there was an extension to that, and it was just like, I don't know. I don't
Was it
know.
was it a good
Was it
idea?
necessary?
No.
It was one of those situations. Like, was it really necessary? Like, to a degree, it was. I
Mm-hmm.
feel it was
Mm-hmm.
because it was almost like a flex. Y'all see where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going down like it did in the past. I get
No.
that. But at the same part, it's like these dudes were drunk.
Yeah.
These dudes were drunk.
Only drunk people who have the balls to do the shit that they did. I'm sorry.
Drunk. So you're beating up retarded people.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say the
Oh,
R word.
no,
You
I
beat
could
them
call them
drunk.
retarded. No, I could call them retarded. We're not talking
Okay.
about physical disability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's totally different. They're retarded. They're fucking retarded. All right.
Well, in the interest of fairness.
And I'm gonna use Carlos. I'm gonna use Carlos Mencia. They're them.
Oh man. I drank 2 half cups of Tennessee honey, bro.
Mm,
Shout
I'm
out.
almost. I'm getting there little by little,
A little there, little by little. Little by
little
little.
by little, little by little.
But long story short, the rules are made for everybody, not for selected people.
No.
You must adhere to the rules and
Yes.
follow them
Yes.
in a respectful manner. And things like getting hit upside the head, with a chair would have been avoided,
All right.
even though we don't condone it.
No. The
I mean,
first.
I understand you trying to stand by your man by jumping into the fight and throwing punches too, but If two men are fighting, ladies, stay out of it. Stay out of
Please.
it.
Now, if if you feel like you can take over where he needs help at, then by all means help the person, but don't be don't be surprised at the reaction to the situation. If you get overwhelmed in the situation, it's time to
Yeah.
run. It's time to
Time to
flee.
run. Time to run. Time to flee. Yes, I want to give a big shout out to Mars Entertainment Down in the Den podcast, down in the Den mates. I did a podcast with them talking about Lizzo and the dancers who are
I missed
suing
that one.
Lizzo.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sean.
Saying so, it was a very good episode. I had Cal Jones on there. Um, we had Are You Mad podcast on it. Sorry if I forgot your name, but we also had two other people on the show, including myself, was on the show. It was a great podcast, and I can't wait. I can't wait to jump on another podcast with them. It's always fun to be around fellow Black podcasters. We're trying to create a network of Black podcasters. You know, it's about time for that to happen.
Yeah.
And so anybody who's Black who has a podcast, definitely hit me up at TruPlayaz at gmail.com. You can add me. You can follow me on Instagram as well at TruPlayaz Podcast. And please, ladies who are looking for boyfriends, and trying to scam men out there, don't follow me on my podcast. I don't want you. Get off my podcast. I will block you. This is my Instagram podcast profile is strictly for podcasting.
Right.
Okay. So I want to connect with more podcasters. I like to invite more podcasters to the True Players podcast. I do want to do another episode on Sacrament of Marriage. I did mention that on the last episode, the second episode of season 6 with Joey
Yes.
G. Now, when we talk about Sacrament of Marriage, part 3, we're going to go into more of expectations while being married.
Should there be expectations?
There should never be conditions or expectations of anything. How about that?
Oh,
How about that?
okay.
How about that? Is it fair for me to say that?
I heard
You
it
should
somewhere. I don't
you
know.
should know when you're married to somebody, you should already know what to do. When you already know what to do, there's no such thing as expectations or
Now,
conditions. When you
I
know what
agree.
you have to do.
If you were taught, if you went through the steps, if you had the foundation to carry that,
Mm-hmm.
if if there was a structure, a home environment
Mm-hmm.
that supported that.
Right.
I get all of that. There's a lot of ifs involved in what you're saying. I don't disagree with you. Um, I just know there's an alternate. There's always an alternate to just everything is not a cookie cutter position. Everything is not. You can't say, well, this scenario works in every situation. No, it doesn't. It works for that situation for that person because of that time. Whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. Not everybody's open
Mm-hmm.
to new things. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody's open and willing to change to whatever thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have my set way of doing things and I'm not going to change it. Or I just don't see, I don't have the vision to see that. So it's X'd out.
Right.
When you're coming, when two people are getting together and they're getting into the relationship or the marriage, um, I feel at some point you will have to know that other person
Mm-hmm.
or get to know that other person. as well as you know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Want to get to know that other person like you know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when things happen, things are not surprising to you.
Right.
So it doesn't feel foreign to you. But if you
Right.
never took the time to understand that person and
Mm-hmm.
know who they are and what they believe and all of that other stuff, is it really their issue or your issue for not investing the time into them to understand where they're coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Relate.
I'm gonna say,
Go
sorry to
ahead.
cut you off.
Go.
Being married is not for the narrow minded.
Never. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for the narrow-minded. You have to be open.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be
Open
open.
for different moves and different situations because things can change. Life is unpredictable.
It
Life is
is.
short. Life is unpredictable. So
It is.
you gotta be able to prepare and be able to adjust and be able to have a quick thinking mentality. If you don't have that situation, what are you going to do? You can't stand point the blame at somebody else all the time. You can't do that.
Well, even if you don't have the quick thinking, if you don't have the quick thinking, then I feel you should be adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you should be adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't build tough skin overnight. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
fucking out here with no type feelings. I'm not a fucking cyborg. Like,
Right.
no, I have feelings, but I'm reserved on how I fucking show them and how I use them. There's
Mm-hmm.
no time for that right now. I'll find a time for that later where I can fucking express my feelings in something else or put my feelings into something that I fucking use to get me somewhere further.
True.
That's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I can't use those emotions, those feelings right now. So I'm going to bottle them up, put them over here, and decide what this fucking problem is, fix this problem, move on. If
Right.
I can't fix it, then I'm going to have to leave it to the wayside and move on. I
Right.
can't dwell on it.
Right.
Adaptability adaptability is understanding what the situation is, reading
Mm-hmm.
it, taking it in,
Mm-hmm.
understanding what you can do about the situation and what you can't. That's what it is.
Right.
You can sugarcoat it. I could tell you anything. I could put
Mm-hmm.
you on board with me. I could fucking make you my ally.
Mm-hmm.
But until you fucking walk in the shoes, you can't say shit about it.
Right. Bro, you got a lot to talk about. I can't wait to do that episode. As a matter of fact,
Bro,
we gonna
bro,
sit there. We
I'm
gonna
with
sit
it.
because we can chat. We can chat offline, and we want females to come in too. We want females part of this podcast too. So
I'm
it's a
with
chance
it.
for
Like
any
I'm not,
female, whether you're married or not, come join the podcast. State your opinion. We get it on and popping. So as we're gonna get ready to wrap up. So I'm gonna let Joey G with the final words of the True Players podcast.
we started off with honor thy mother and the father.
Mm-hmm.
In honoring the mother and the father, it talks about relationships, our relationships as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Treat somebody like you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Treat somebody like you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fucking be surprised about that shit.
No, no.
Don't be is there's nothing to fucking talk about, really. There's nothing to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be treated good, you treat somebody else fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You don't treat them bad. You don't fucking steal from them. You don't do all these fucking extra stuff. You don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, prepare for the consequences of your actions. Prepare for a lonely fucking road by yourself. Prepare to look yourself in the mirror and realize all the fucking wrongs that you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And deal with the ghosts and the demons of your past while doing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly see the people that that were around you that thought you were a good person turn away from you and walk away.
Mm-hmm. Well
Look
said,
yourself
bro.
look yourself in the mirror. Look yourself in the mirror. Because the only person at the end of the day and before we leave this life that matters is looking you right in the fucking face.
Well
To
said.
get you through this life. That person you look in the mirror every day and you see, that's the person you're accountable
Mm-hmm.
for. You're accountable for that person. When you leave,
Mm.
you leave. You're not taking
Mm-hmm.
nothing with you.
No.
But remember all the stuff that you did before and all the things that you learned in this life, that's going with you. That's all I have to say about that.
Bro, I don't know if I think I lost myself a little bit. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
there
can
it
hear you.
is. Okay, excellent, excellent. Well said. Well said, bro. I couldn't have said it any better. And on that note, I'm not going to add to it. I'm not going to add to it. Reason being is it's not what I was raised around. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Once again, I want to wish my father a happy birthday in heaven. So I know he wanted the best for me, and everybody he touched, he wanted them to be at their best.
Ma-
And that's a true example. That's a true honest test of a person that he was. He wanted your best. He demanded your best. That's all I can say about that. So remember, follow me on Patreon at TruPlayaz Podcast. Follow me on YouTube at TruPlayaz Podcast. Follow me on Spotify at TruPlayaz Podcast. It's your man Big Dom. We're gonna sign off on this podcast. I'll see you guys later in the week with a new episode. IHeart, me and Joey sign off. Peace.